Well, good news. By taking the time to sort out our garbage, recycling and compost into separate bins, our region has been able to keep a whopping 136,570 tons of material out of our local landfill, and instead create new products with it, helping to reduce greenhouse gas and preserving our natural resources. Jessica Kaitting reports.
The rows of large compost windrows at Halton Waste Management Site show us exactly how much is being kept out of the landfill thanks to our collective participation in the region's composting effort.
So with our seasonal yard waste program, so of course this runs from April to the end of December. We pick it up curbside bi-weekly. It comes to the Halton Waste Management Site. So the first stage that you see actually behind me is those paper bags. That is how residents are disposing of their yard waste. The first thing we actually have to do is to grind it all up. So we actually chop up the yard waste into smaller pieces and we stick it into these long windrows. So these windrows now are naturally occurring microorganisms are going to start to break down that material. We have front end loaders, so which we have seen here today, that are turning the piles to provide oxygen to those piles so that those microorganisms can continue to do their job of composting. As we go through those 6 to 9 months, we slowly get to that end process, and the final stage for us is we're going to screen it. So what we're doing is making sure any of those larger pieces that maybe didn't have quite enough time to compost, we're going to pull those out so we end up with that really beautiful soil that you can use as compost in your gardens.
Whether it's yard waste or regular compost being turned into nutrient-rich soil or recycled items being turned into new products, every item kept out of the landfill adds up to make a big difference.
58% diversion rate is excellent. Our residents here in Halton region are doing a fabulous job at diverting that waste and recycling and keeping this earth nice and clean. Now, I always say there's room for improvement though. So in waste management, we do things called waste audits, where we will actually take a sample of garbage. We're going to look inside of it, we'll sort it through and just see how residents are doing. Are they understanding our recycling programs? You know, what is being thrown away? And we actually just recently did an audit this year, and looking at the results, 45% of what was being thrown in the garbage could have actually been recycled or composted. So for me, that's a huge education standpoint. So I need to go back out into our residents and explain our recycling programs and really give them the understanding of how to use them. What is acceptable and why is it so important to use these programs? So I always say we're doing great, but there's always room for improvement.
If you'd like to help the region divert even more from our landfill, keep a close eye on what you're throwing in the garbage and consider if it's actually appropriate for the blue or green bin instead.
So, you know, those leftover bits of food, it's going to be a lot of those paper fiber products, things like paper towels. So those items, even though they might be small, we want to make sure they do end up in those right programs. So for us, a big one that we always push with our residents is visit our website, halton.ca/waste. We have an online sorting tool. It's called Put Waste in Its Place, super easy to use. If you have an item, you're not sure what to do with it, you can't decide what program it belongs in, go onto that website, use that program, type it in, and it will tell you what recycling program or what bin it belongs in, which is really great. So really, if you have those issues, go onto the website, we'll help you out.
As a way to appreciate residents for all their efforts, Halton hosts 2 free compost giveaways every year. For more, visit halton.ca. For Halton News, I'm Jessica Kaitting.